So good morning from a rather spectacularly sunny Donnington Park here for round 6 of the UK Time Attack Series. A week commencing Mallory Park, so we're already straight back into the action just a mere 7 days after our last stint. So what have we done with the Micra in this last week? Well, absolutely bugger all. Now, we're pretty sure at this point that the head gasket is on its way out. It's chucking a lot of oil into the catch tank and it's filling the header tank rather quickly on a session. So just not had time to physically fix it. After today, we've got 4 weeks to fix it, so we're going to get the head gasket done then. But we are scrutineered, we are signed on, and we are due on in 15 minutes time. And I love Donington Park for this, and that is the plains overhead. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, we're going to get suited and booted and we're going to go out for our first warm-up session. Now, Donnington to me is my worst round. It's always the bogey round. We haven't finished a single round here. We've always had a problem with the car, so Donnington to me always has that bad omen sort of like lingering over its head. But we're going to try and get it done today, regardless of what condition the car is in. So yeah, let's go for our first warm-up session. Let's go. First session at Donnington Park in the old spicy Micra. Now, I'm just going to do a couple of test laps to see how the car reacts to its new geo settings that we've done. And as you can see here, I'm quite surprised at how nicely it turns in now. So removing the anti-roller bar has definitely had a positive effect on how the car turns in. And yeah, lovely. You know, it handles so much better now. And after all these months of people telling me to remove the anti-roller bar, I thought I was pulling my leg, and you know, it turns out to actually be a lot better. Now, what I'm experiencing is it turns in lovely, but it does then sort of go into a state of understeer when the front suspension loads up. Not going flat through here just yet because I've not got the balls to do so. And yeah, just giving it a couple of laps to get the feel in. Because, you know, we're now running a lot more power than we did last year here at Donnington. You know, I'm not a racing driver by all means, so my lines are most likely all over the shop. Now, I'm not on a hot lap, but I have seen Dave here is, so I've let Dave through, and I decided, you know what, let's try and follow Dave in the spicy Micra. So yeah, we're going to chase Dave down, and I'm just going to sort of try and learn from his lines, his braking points. You know, Dave is top in the class in pocket rocket force induction, so it only makes sense to follow the fastest guy. My line could obviously do a bit more of finesse there, but here comes the biggest moment of the weekend. That could have ended very, very badly for me. Now, I was chasing Dave and Raj was on a slow lap, and I had committed, but then I'd worked out that Raja would have been in the place my car wanted to be, doing the speed I was doing, so kind of the stupid thing, and I just sort of let off the throttle for a second to sort of back out of it, and then lift off oversteer. Woo! Happy days for a foot-wheel drive car, but you know, the car survived, still in one piece, so I call that a win. And that's about it for the spicy stuff in this session, so we're just going to come straight into the fastest lap of this session. So that is the first warm-up session of the day done. Performed really well. So what I actually haven't told you, which I probably should have done in the previous clip, is we've done some minor geo changes to the car, and what we've done is we've raised the front end 20mm and then raised the rear 30mm. We now currently get a bit of vlog inception.
Oh wow, look, you can see me there, I can see myself there, and you see there, and if you watch his channel, you'll see me here with the camera pointing at this, and then you watch mine, and you'll see it's a mind bend.
Just what he said, basically, just reverse of that.
How was it, good?
Yes.
I ran out of fuel.
You ran out of fuel, I left my anti-roll bar in the boot rattling around. which goes on to the bits I was about to say. What?
At Alton, I left the extension for the jack in between the thing, and it was rolling. I mean, it couldn't go on anywhere, but it was rolling and making this really clunky metal sound, and I was like, oh my god, the half of the suspension is falling off. So we checked everything, and then I found that there was this bar sort of rolling around. So you're not the first, you're not the last. Yeah. So
shit rolling round.
All right, I'll leave you.
Okay, thanks. I might edit this out, might leave it in, I don't know.
No, you are leaving.
I'm leaving it in, right? Okay, yes, as you heard, just there, the anti-roll bar was rolling around in the boot. Now, we've done some geo changes to the car, and that is, we've raised the front 20mm and we've raised the rear 30mm to introduce a bit of rake into the suspension, and that is meant to load the front tyres up to introduce a bit of oversteer. And then we've also removed the front anti-roll bar, and the turning now of the car is pretty immense. So it goes into like an oversteer state and then pretty much into an understeer state pretty much directly after. So there's a couple of moments in the last session where you'll see me braking and turning in and the back end's spinning around. So at least we know we've got the car rotating now, so all I've got to do is just learn to drive it in the new handling situation. So yeah, other than that, we filled the header tank halfway. I'm just about to go check the catch tank to see how much we've got the catch tank in, and then we're going to get ready for the second session, which is practice. Time wise, we're at a 120 point something, it's on the screen now, which puts us in a pretty decent, like a 2.5 deficit from second place. So provided we can keep that today, you know, that's going to be a good result. We're guaranteed a third place today, so even if we had an issue, as long as we can get out on limb and do a couple of laps, we're going to secure a podium position stay either way. But at the minute, obviously I'm not going to celebrate too early with a P1 in practice because it doesn't mean anything. Qualifying and final is where those sort of times and results really matter. So yeah, let's go out now for our second session of the day. So second session of the day, and unfortunately there's not much action to report in the early stages of the session, so we'll just jump straight into our fastest lap of the session. on the windscreen has accumulated some fluid, and it turns out to be oil. At this point, I'm not exactly sure where this oil has come from, but it is hindering visibility quite a bit, so I've had to come into the pits and get the lads to clean the windscreen. Dad appears to have found an oil leak, and for whatever reason he's using duct tape to seal an oil leak. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why. So yeah, we're just going to go back out for a couple more laps, and let's just see what happens. So we go out and do an out lap to cool the car down a bit, and then we go for our first push lap, and just keep your eye on top of the steering wheel in this braking zone here. Now, I saw that in the car, that blue smoke, and sort of still see it going now, so I decided to just quit this hot lap. We'll cool the car down into the pits, and I decided to call that the end of the session for me, just to investigate where this oil is coming from. So that was a relatively short and sweet session. We set again for a PB of a 1:22.6, I believe, which still put us a good second clear of second place. But I noticed a couple of laps in, I was getting a bit of oil on the windscreen, and it was just starting to obstruct visibility quite a bit. So I've come into the pits, they popped the bonnet, and they've kind of identified that one of the AN fittings is where the oil's coming from. So a quick fix on that, I suppose, if that's what we want to call it. Back out, and then literally on, I went out, did an out lap, and I went to immediately go do a push lap. I could see smoke coming through the bonnet vent, so I've immediately come off the throttle and just coasted it round, and we've come into the pits, and what we have discovered is we've got an oil leak, oil drip from the turbo drain there, and as you can see it's fairly moist around the area, and you can sort of see some telltale there, a wet spot on the manifold from where the oil's been leaking onto it. So wise choice to come in, because that can cause a pretty serious fire, and that's not what we want. So yeah, we've got a lap, we're just waiting to cool down, and we're going to fix that, and then fuck off, and then we're going to go back out for the qualifying session, which at the minute is looking hopeful. Sub 120 in the car in its current form. So let's fix this oil leak, and then let's get straight into qualifying. Okay, so qualifying, the first session of the day, which actually counts towards our positions for the day. So we're behind Andy here. We're just going to go out and do an aggressive out lap to roll the tyres up, and here I am on my first push lap, and we're straight into traffic, and nearly buried the Micra into the back of Andy, but we're all good. That's all that matters. Now Jonathan James yeets himself into the gravel once again in his Impreza, causing a red flag. Into the pits we come while they recover the vehicle, so we're just going to take this opportunity to clean the windscreen again. Now before we went out, I cleaned the front of the engine quite in depth with some brake cleaner to make it dry and clean. So we're just inspecting now to see if we see any fresh patches of oil, which would give us an indication of where it's coming from. But red flag is short-lived, and we are back out, and then a couple of hot laps later this happens. Slightly less than ideal, but at this moment I'm unaware of the damage this has caused, so we've not got much long left in the session, so I go straight back out, and we go do our fastest lap of the session. So that was an eventful qualifying session. We're still P1 in that session with a 1:28.5, I believe it is. Had a couple of moments in that section. I forget the names of the corners, but this corner here, and I had an off, and I was overtaking. I can't remember what car, but I was overtaking the car, and it just upset my rhythm. It upset my line. I locked up, and then I decided it'd be easier to go across the gravel to the grass the other side in a straight line, rather than potentially going to the gravel sideways and beach myself, and that worked out okay. But yeah, my fastest lap, as you'd have seen just then, was impeded by that bloody blue Fiesta being in the way in the final chicane. For sure that would have been a 1:19 if I didn't have to dramatically alter my line to get by. But you would have seen me, I was pushing the flash to pass button and he just was oblivious. So yeah, I'm really annoyed about that. Other than that, the car just started to get really hot now. We've started to get a bit of oil spray on the windscreen. Literally my windscreen is covered in oil here. You may be able to see that in the video, but we just can't trace where it's coming from. Thought it was coming from here, so we cable tied some microphones on there, but these are dry as a bone, so it's not coming from there. So it might be the rock cover gasket leaking now. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for it to cool down, and we're going to retighten the rock cover and change some seals on there. And other than that, it just got way too hot. The coolant spiked to like 108 degrees, 110 degrees, and I've never seen a coolant that high. So it's filled the overflow bottle as well with coolant. So we've definitely got an issue. We've definitely got a coolant issue that we're going to have to rectify before the next round at Brands Hatch. I've gone to Parc Fermé, they've waved me through Parc Fermé, and obviously as I've come around the back of the paddock to come back into the pit garage, it spiked again, so I turned the engine off and then I just couldn't get to start again. Come grabbed a few hands to come help me push the car down to the garage, hopped in the car and it started straight up. So we've got a fan on it at the moment. Luckily Andy bought 2 fans. I forgot mine yet again, and then we drenched the radiator in water to give it that sort of cooling effect, and the temperature's dropped right down. So no, we aren't starting the final session just yet. We've emptied the catch tank, and this is what size is this? That must be 500 ml, half a litre of oil from the catch tank. Now it's filling the catch tank with that much oil per session, so that just sort of gives you an indication of ill health this engine was in. Now at the start of the season with this 1.8 it wasn't doing that, so we've hurt it. Now as well as that, Paul from TPW was just doing some data logging on the ECU, and we've discovered that the throttle was only opening up to 45%. Now there's a safety feature in the Haltech that when the brakes are on, now our brake lights are activated by a pressure switch on the brake line just down here. You probably can't see it, but it is down there. So when it sees hydraulic pressure, in turn it activates the brake lights. Now we think the switch is faulty and it thinks that the brake lights are on constantly, so as a result it's only allowing the throttle to open up to 45%. So what we've done is Paul's deactivated that safety feature, which is going to give us full throttle. Now I wasn't exactly driving around there at full throttle anyway. I genuinely didn't think I needed to. It felt plenty enough. But we have removed that safety feature, which now gives us 100% throttle. So yeah, now we're going to go into the final session, and I'm going to go chase that 1:19. Let's go. So here we go, the final session of the day, the session that really counts, really. Up until this point we have placed P1 in all 3 previous sessions despite the issues that we've been having, so pretty confident that we're going to get a result in this session, especially after Paul has fixed the throttle issue. Now you'll see now when I pulled out the pits, you know, it sped up quite quickly when I put my foot on the pedal, and it's never done that before. I mean, it won't do with only 20% throttle. So we're pretty hopeful that we're going to get a result in this session. Now I decide that because it's such a hot day, we're just going to send it on the first lap basically. So this is our out lap from the pits, and we're just going to go straight into a hot lap because unfortunately the tyres are pretty old, and after a lap or two they start to fall off a cliff grip wise. And so the only opportunity, the only operating window we've got for these tyres is very early on in the session. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to go set our fastest lap for this session. And as you can see, after that single lap, the windscreen is just covered in oil. At this point, the worst it's been all day. And yeah, rightly so. As you can hear, I've got an exhaust blow. Clueless as to where this exhaust blow is at this point. Obviously, they're filming this, editing this video weeks later. I understand where this exhaust leak is coming from, but we'll go into that in detail later. But yeah, as you can hear, because I'm stood still, the engine temperature is just out of control at this point, and you can't really see in the dashboard, I don't think, but it's about 120 degrees at the moment, which is pretty high for the setup we've got here. So straight back out and straight into a couple of cool down laps to get the engine temperature down, and then we're going to go for what is going to be, unfortunately, our last lap of this session. I'll let the video do the talking. So as you can see, we are missing our little Micra now. You would have seen it in the footage on the screen just now because I would have put it in. But coming out of what the fuck's that corner? What is that corner? That corner, this corner, this corner. Then going up the hill to this corner, insert the corner name here because I don't know the fucking corner name, and then going to the braking zone, and then the car just wasn't slowing down. And it turns out the throttle pedal, I believe at this moment in time, was stuck to the floor, so we just wasn't slowing down. So I didn't panic, just had a quick thought, and I pressed the isolator button, which cuts power to the engine, which obviously stops the engine running. So yes, here we are. Now, we did develop quite a bit of an exhaust blow in the first couple of laps of that session actually, so it'll be interesting to see what that blow is, but just don't know where all this oil is coming from, just spraying on the windscreen. In fact, let's take a quick look now and see if we can diagnose anything. It's hot. What is come undone? I think literally the manifold here, look, you can probably just see it, some telltale signs of some soot. So maybe that bolt's just wound loose. Interestingly, there's oil all over here, so I think what's happening is it's pressurising the rock cover, it's blowing oil here, and it's fucking the vents fucking up the windscreen. So that could hopefully be solved when we get the head gasket done. Now, unfortunately, pretty bad news is, well, it's good and bad news, I suppose. Andy pipped us on the last lap of that session, where we were stuck there waiting for a tow with a 119.2. Now, frustratingly, I believe when we had this throttle pedal issue and the throttle was stuck to the floor, I believe I was 7/10 up. I'll correct it on the screen now if that isn't the case. Yeah, 7/10 up, I believe so anyway, and you know, that would have been enough to take the win. So unfortunately we did a 120.02 something, a low 120. Yes, and Andy did a 119, so unfortunately it's P2 today. If only the car had broken that session, maybe we would have been P1, but again, it's great to, you know, yes, we've lost P1, P2, but again, we're doing it. You know, you can't really be mardy about missing out on a podium with a friend. So well done, Andy, well deserved. It's been fucking hot out there today, and obviously we've been babying this car through the day. So what we need to do now is go do the podium presentations, and then hopefully we can get this on the pit lane for a debrief.
Give us a twerk!
And today's Classical Retro winner is Andy Gray. And now for Clubman, where third place goes to Mark Blackburn.
And there we go, podium presentation rounds up the day with our second class trophy. Although it looks like someone's dropped it, but it is what it is, I suppose. So yeah, I want to thank you for watching said video and following me and the Micra's journey through all these motorsport events that we're putting it through. We've got a lot of things to fix. just to give you an idea of what happened in that, is that I have managed to drive it from around there to here, and the throttle pedal has gone faulty and the manifold has cracked exactly where I said it would do when we did the manifold modification video. So yeah, obviously we'll go with a debrief of the repairs and everything. And with that being said, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and all that jazz. And don't forget to what?
Call your nan. Tell your nan. Tell your nan.
Tell your nan.
Tell your nan. Yeah.